That would have been good too, for me to look at before.
No, it's fine. I'm digging because I had a little bit of time. It's just that once you dig into their website, the SEMO website, there seems to be a lot of stuff. That's great. That's great.
Okay. How long? Oh no, I'm not asking that question. I'll ask that on the phone later. You look very tired though, I will say.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought about improving the light, but that would mean putting in
Not being tired. Yeah, not being tired.
No, just I've noticed that lighting makes a difference. If I lit from the front, then it would just my tired eyes would be a little less I think shadowed.
Well, anyway, I have been calming myself from the terrible other stuff that's going on by watching the Big Bear Eaglets. Kind of a Big Bear Eagle family. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, there's a mom and a dad, Jackie and Shadow, and there's two baby eagles who just fledged, named Sunny and Gizmo. And it's just really interesting, number one, but it's also uplifting. At a time when there's everything else all over the place in the news. So
yeah, I think that's wonderful. It's wonderful. I've been discovering wildlife in my backyard. So excited. I've had a really good gardening year. And then I think I posted on Facebook that there was first a cocoon, a monarch cocoon that I almost pulled up because the monarch had created a cocoon on a dandelion, like it was a tall dandelion. And I was just pulling out the dandelion and realized, so I propped it up, I tied it to sunflowers and then watched it. And then I shared it on Facebook. So now I see there are actually two couples of so four total monarchs flitting around, flying around the yard.
And you do, of course, want those correct, I keep forgetting, plants.
Milkweed.
They
finally was attracted to my narrow leaf milkweed for a couple of years. They wouldn't pay any attention, but now we're going great guns. And then while I was cleaning up, I found two praying mantis uthicas. So those are the egg cases for. And then I was cleaning up some weeds and taking it to the green bin, and there was a little lizard underneath that.
Oh,
so we are for
those too. Not so much in my yard because I have a lot of cats still come from wherever. Too much pollution near my house. I think what happens is people leave their pets behind when they're evicted. I'm not sure. That's what I think. So, got 1 minute to go.
Okay.
For a fish meeting.
Okay.
So
let me go to that.
So I don't really have a lot of wildlife anymore because the how you have coyotes over here. There's also coyotes over by my house, and I think I haven't seen any possums in months and months.
Oh yeah, those would be the slowest moving, easiest targets.
Exactly.
I was afraid to go.
I mean, I think I was gonna say I like possums. I know they're really ugly creatures, but they're really good for the garden.
Slugs, ticks. Yeah.
Exactly. Oops, it's 7 o'clock. So.
All right.
You can
call shall I open up? Okay. Well, so anybody, welcome to the United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council Environmental Committee meeting on June 12th, 7 p.m. Laura Myers is opening up the agenda so that it's on the screen. I'm Elizabeth Fenner, acting president or something, not president, chair of this committee. And I'm not sure if that's going to continue. It probably will continue, but if I'd like to look for another chair while I take my official board seat.
Well, you know, something we'll talk about at the board in August. Not in July.
No, great. So, because we're not meeting in July?
We're meeting in July. This is Laura speaking. We're meeting in July, but in July we have brand new board members. I mean, you're a returning board member, but there's people who've never been to a board meeting. So it's a little early to be talking about committee co-chairs, because they don't necessarily even know what committees we own.
Sure, absolutely. And what there is to do. I don't think our
what all the procedures are. Okay, so we are looking at the agenda, and if anybody's on YouTube, they're looking at the agenda. So I'll quickly go through because I can see it easily.
Great.
You know, welcome. We did that. Call to order. It's us. Review of the agenda. We're doing that. We'll have general public comments on anything not on this agenda. Update. I don't really have an update. Update to the city's budget and sustainability. The only thing we'll talk about is that which we know, which we may not know a lot. A possible community impact statement regarding a piece of state legislation that's not yet really moving forward, but the resolution to have the city of LA add to its government, lobbying effort when they lobby Sacramento, to have the city of LA support this piece of legislation, which would ensure that polluters, not the public, not taxpayers, pay for cleanup in our water system. So that's what the legislation's about. And then, which we, that seems to be kind of simple. Then a follow-up to a session that was done at Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance last weekend on microplastics. And I would propose, Elizabeth, that if it's just you and me, that we don't do that and we just wait till the next meeting. And then the announcement that earlier today was the kickoff, not the whole campaign, just the kickoff to the annual heat relief for LA campaign. I gather we will talk a little bit about that because you looked up something on YouTube. And new business, old business, adjourn. And the next scheduled meeting is TBA, to be arranged, in part because we might be grabbing July 10, which is our next scheduled meeting. We might be grabbing that for the governing board meeting. Okay. Because we can't do governing board on July 3rd because it's the 4th of July weekend.
Okay.
I mean, in other words, 4th of July weekend doesn't really start till the morning of the 4th, but we all know that it kind of starts around noon on the 3rd as people leave. So we wouldn't be able to have tomorrow. So that is the agenda. And I'm going to stop the share.
Okay, great. Let's go to, where did it go? I have it up on my screen too. So general public comment. If we are recording this on YouTube, so this will be here for, is our YouTube recording of these meetings up for a while? Is it up for a month? Is it forever?
No, I don't know what forever means, but yeah, it lives, is kind of buried. One of the things we've asked our webmaster, UNNC webmaster, to do is make the link to it more visible, but you get to it through the website.
Okay.
Somehow. But we have our own YouTube channel and just all of our meetings going back to the beginning of Zoom. So back to 2020 are the ones that we recorded are all there. Not all of them were recorded.
Okay. But that's the way the future is going to go. And
well, that's the idea.
We love history, so we know that this is a way to capture history, even in its lack of good lighting. And like,
well, the other thing is that these meetings are being recorded to the cloud. The Zoom itself is recorded to the cloud in the city's big master Zoom account. And nowadays, the Zoom program software includes an AI transcript. So if there was a meeting where we needed to look at, in lieu of minutes, you have to go look at the YouTube to now take minutes. We could go to the transcript. Not as important for this committee. It's important for planning and zoning.
Okay.
It's important for planning and zoning because we're making development land use decisions. So anyway,
my bringing it up is from a sustainability point of view. Our use of data or data storage on a server somewhere will pale in comparison to AI's use of data by far. At the same time, if we're going from some number of kilobytes for a transcript saved to a number of megabytes of a video that is completely not important in terms of holding on to it outside, a video portion of it. I would prefer to use less data, to hold less storage space in a data server if it saves energy.
Yeah, well, this is in lieu of printing out a lot of paper, frankly.
So there's that to consider.
Yeah, so it reminds me of a balancing act, and I'm not the entity that sets policy.
I'm just saying this for the record, for the transcript.
I understand.
I want to, okay. So in relation to, and maybe we can move to.
Well, I want to bring up another thing under
general public.
Yeah. One of the things at the Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance meeting after they talked about microplastics, somebody was bringing up, and I think I mentioned this to you already, the Facebook Buy Nothing groups. And it's another kind of sustainability, meaning it's not just, you're not even driving to the thrift store to buy used goods. You're taking things that might have otherwise been thrown away because it may be not even thrift store material. And I will say, for example, I mentioned to you that we had recently cleared out the house of somebody who had passed away, and everything had to be cleared. So not just stuff that, clothing I donated to the downtown shelter, but it was also bandaging material. I mean, there was a couple of cases of bandages, and the person who was helping us put it on the Jefferson Park Buy Nothing, and people came and took that. Yeah. So, it's everything. And that kind of stuff would never, you can't donate a case of bandages to the Goodwill. It's just not enough. So
can we have the Buy Nothing people come on to our next call or
a call soon? Yeah, that's what we should talk to, because Chris is involved with one group, and I mentioned, she told me that broadly speaking, there's hundreds or thousands of Buy Nothing groups because they're usually grouped around a small neighborhood. She's gotten involved with a wildfire survivor Buy Nothing group, and it has a lot of subgroups. So she was collecting mostly kitchen supplies as people are getting apartments now. They need to have cookware, but she mentioned as another example that there's a subgroup for musical instruments for the kids who lost their musical instruments in the fire. So they're fine, but they're back at school, or not this summer, but I mean they were back at school without the musical instruments for their classes.
I hear you.
So it's an interesting topic. I think we should do the microplastics first, since it's here tonight. But yeah, let's try and arrange it. And I'll ask Kat Slater, who is the one who was helping me clean out that house, and she was posting to Buy Nothing. Who, how, what, who's the head? Is there a chair of it? I don't know. I just don't know exactly how it works.
That would be great for us to know. Absolutely. Yeah. And to be able to spread the word on that.
Exactly. And maybe more than one in the UNNC footprint. Because I know there's a Jefferson Park, but what about, is there a Harvard Heights? I don't know.
And then too, just like recycling, or just like Goodwill doesn't take
Yeah, just
certain
doesn't.
things that have like in Seattle, there used to be a tool a tool library.
Oh,
So
yes, of course. Many libraries have tool libraries. I mean,
yeah.
have a tool library. No, I mean, it's interesting because when I was trying to donate clothing, it turns out even that's not very easy anymore because they want it freshly washed. So if you're emptying a whole house of clothing, it's like, I can't. Wash all this stuff? I mean, I don't want to donate something that's dirty, but if it had been, and it appeared to be washed by the person whose clothing it was and folded neatly in her drawers, or do you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to wash this again. And it's way too much. So I finally found one place that would take it, but most of the places need you to take care of that first, and it's hard. So, but the Buy Nothing group probably doesn't care because they have maybe their own washing machines. Okay.
And once you know all these things, you know also to buy high quality goods so that it will last and be pass onable. That you buy non-polyester, because let's go. So general public comment, I think I'd like to just take a moment to say that today is the day that Senator Alex Padilla was forcibly removed from a press conference, and it was manhandled by the people, by the officers in charge. I did not see him lunging at anyone or showing any signs of aggression, just public appearance at a public event. It was an ugly scene. It was he was handcuffed on the ground. I think we've all hopefully seen the video at this point, and it's a horrifying development in this tense time. So
and they said he had not identified himself, and the video made clear he was totally identifying himself. Repeat. I mean, but equally important, it was already in the federal building for a different reason, but you can't get into the federal building without already having been vetted, right? I mean, so everyone who was there had already gone through whatever you needed to go through to be there. So while he wasn't an invited person, it's like, what's a press conference if it's only invited people? Anyway, but we're now being more judgy perhaps than we should be, and I think
there will be more coming up.
Plenty of commentary on this one, and I've already heard a few bipartisan upset comments.
I think that seems an appropriate response, but we will hold off on judgment until we hear more. Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
So moving on to update.
Yeah, I didn't really get a good sense. Glenn Bailey, who's the
are we on number 3 now?
Yeah.
Okay.
How has the budget hit, climate change and sustainability and on the different initiatives? I didn't get a good sense. I was hoping, since Glenn Bailey, who's one of the heads of the budget advocates, was also at that meeting, and he did give a little report, but he didn't actually give a little report that made clear what if anything, had been put back into the budget, other than we know that SEMO was not funded. Right. It was transferred into emergency management. So staff positions were kept. I do not know how you have 2 department heads in one. So I don't know how that's, but they didn't even talk about it. So I think
interestingly, I guess it's the difficulty of calling it an emergency when it's such a long-term emergency that it must be very different from the Department of Emergency Services, which they're prepared for events that happen that grip us sporadically, hopefully as little as possible. Yeah.
Right. So that's why I don't know. Marta, I forget her last name, but Marta is the head of SEMO. And I imagine she could still be head of SEMO, but I don't think she could still be a department head if she's working under another department head.
Mm-hmm.
So, but beyond that, it's very unclear. So
another,
we don't, that's a don't know item.
And right, their budget, how much their budget is, what they're going to use their budget for, how it'll affect their ongoing actions will remain to be seen.
Well, the other thing is, two other things, all related to this. City council members have put in a whole bunch of motions restoring this, restoring that. I mean, for example, for neighborhood councils, there's now a motion to restore our budgets from $25,000 a year to our 32,000. But that's not part of the budget that was signed last Friday. So, and I mean, in other words, there's a whole bunch of motions that still need to be acted on one by one by one, which still move money around. And then they apparently did a handshake deal with the mayor that by October, they're going to really revisit everything in the hopes that there is more money coming in. This was all done Friday. And of course, now it looks worse, not better this week. But in October, they were going to revisit to see if they can put back into the budget the hiring of 240 more LAPD. But it's about the money, maybe the money, they were hoping that maybe the money situation isn't going to be as bad as they thought. And they will not know until August 1, for example, the annual assessor's roll is released. But I don't see how that could be good. 6,000 homes, how many homes were destroyed in Palisades? So those assessments go down, not up. Yeah, I don't think the amount, any increase in the number of home sales over the last 12 months is going to make up for that. So, it's a wait and see. Just a wait and see.
I hadn't thought about that. That's serious. Yeah.
And it's not assessed money from the, your property taxes is not a huge chunk of the city budget, but I think it's 100 million. I know that's it's not $1 billion. I think it's like 100 million. I think sales tax is much higher, but I mean, there's many different sources of funds.
Sure. Okay.
But the unknown one that's one of the unknowns, because the roll is not released till August. So anyway.
Okay. It feels like we're teetering on disaster. So
doesn't it feel that way? That's why I keep going back to the little baby eagles. Sorry.
Related to that is, still on SEMO, I had wished for some wording or some communication that in today's time, climate emergency mobilization, sustainability is an important element of every job in the city. I believe it's the job of every manager in every business, in every department. It's not, you can't shuffle off, you do sustainability to somebody. I'm the only, that I could tell, I'm one of the only people at my employment that recycles. That's not right.
That's not right. At a school?
At a school. I don't really want to go into it. I don't want to, because I'm trying to respect the culture at the school, the priorities at the school, and they try real hard with the kids, and they're doing the best they can. I'm about recycling. I'm about recycling food or composting food, recycling paper, recycling plastic. But I feel like people say, that's somebody else's job. And so that's what I want from Karen Bass. That's what I want from our leadership, is to say, well, SEMO is alive and well. SEMO will continue, but let's talk about sustainability across the board. Consciousness about the heat that's going to come to us and our mobilization and equity issues across the board. Everybody's job. for instance, like, well, one of the examples they have is on the website is look in on your neighbors, elderly, disabled folks. Just make sure that they're okay. That's just one dot. Well, that's one point of a larger page. And I'm like, wait, what? That's everybody. Everybody. We should all be doing that. Now, how do we start doing that? You know what I'm saying? Getting together as communities.
We're kind of digressing, but I think we could, not today, but really soon, write an article about this for UNNC. So it could post it on the website as a news story. And you know, they don't live a long life because the next one and the next one, and there's not that many. But we can also send it out via MailChimp and can also, I think, do an Instagram story. I mean, we don't have that's something, I mean, others take the story and Hunter can do the figure out how to interpret it for, you know.
Okay.
But we can certainly take from whatever it is that Simo's handing out and actually make it into something that we put on the website and then MailChimp with a link to the website. Okay. Because that, check on your neighbors would be the, first one.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go to the meeting today. So you're saying the whole meeting was on YouTube?
It on the announcement or on their webpage, it says that all their meetings will be presented on YouTube. I checked YouTube, but it's still too early for it to be.
It'll be probably be tomorrow or the next day. Well, because
and then you can subscribe. It's on YouTube. It's the Climate Emergency Mobilization Office, and it's right there, climate4la.org, and there are lots of them from a couple of years ago. It looks like 2 years ago. You can get. So anyway, I
mean, I had pulled some graphics before, but I had not really pulled a lot of content.
Okay. I think it said that the video itself, the presentation, would be available, and that's all right and good, because in the middle of the day like that on a Wednesday, who can go to that?
Right.
I can't. So anyway, let's move on. Oh, are we gonna meet much longer? I don't think we are, because we
but I want to pull up the council motion so that
okay. Council file 25.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. That I love it. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was combated, this motion for DWP not to pay for PFAS or not to be held liable for PFAS, because they didn't put it in the water and they shouldn't be responsible for taking it out of the water 100%.
Who shouldn't be? DWP?
DWP. I mean, that's the motion. That's the motion. But here you go. Like, when you start thinking about aspects of air, water, emissions, pollution, the people who are trying to clean it up are not the people who put it there in the first place. And so liability, and these things are expensive. Trash is expensive. Pollution is expensive. Water pollution, air pollution, emissions. It's getting expensive.
Okay, so am I understanding this, that what this is all about is identifying the actual polluters and then charging money?
I think it suggests that it doesn't identify the polluters, but it says that LADWP did not put it in the water and should not be responsible for it.
Right.
Yeah, I don't like the word polluters. I think it's name calling, where themselves, when PFAS polluters seek to dilute their yield. And I don't like that at all. I think
it's a national thing. I hadn't read this very well.
Okay,
this
and it's an HR. Okay, HR 1267. Okay, I thought it was California, and maybe it is.
That's probably, you probably thought it because I told you that. But No, it's a national one. But anyway, here's a question.
Right.
For us, little neighborhood council, the question is, do we want to propose to the governing board that we just write a very brief community impact statement saying we support this, we support the city of LA taking the position, support the
of support. Sure.
Is that what we want to do?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
With the I would say with the amendment or the comment that PFAS polluters is a vague term that could be tightened to say industries that are currently and have historically
well, yeah, if you could
produce
just write,
PFAS. Yeah,
you just write it up, because this is just something we'll take a 1 paragraph write up to the board next month. Like a month today, but we would need it, in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Languages, I can do the rest of it, but if you give me the correct language for what you want the adjustment to be.
Oh, yeah.
Pro forma.
Okay. So you'll write the paragraph and I will
make the language, you want it not to say polluters, you want it to be a little more
industry specific. Yeah.
Okay. But so if you just write up that little piece of it.
Sure.
Do a mutual thing. Okay. So what do we want to do about a follow-up about microplastics?
Oh, I think we're going to save it for another meeting, right?
Save it when we have attendance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, people need to hear about microplastics. Dang.
Yeah. So maybe we can make it a bigger deal and make sure in advance we have people coming.
Okay.
And they're not all on a Zoom call as we speak about, are we allowed to say this? About, there's a big Zoom call right now about preparing for Saturday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, that's where a number of people I know who would normally be here are.
Okay.
My conversations earlier today. So, okay, so we kind of already did talk about number 6, announcements. Heat relief campaign kicks off.
Right.
But so do we need to talk any further about that?
I don't think so. That they just to check out the website, climate4la.org, climate number 4.
Right. I think I reshare this.
Okay.
And go there is what I'm saying. Share. Okay. I'm sharing the agenda again, but what I'm really doing is going to their website. Oh, no, I'm not. That was that's just the webinar. So what is it that we're trying to do?
If you
the website, www.climate number 4.
Yeah, number 4, la.org. And why did I see, hold on just a second.
So are you seeing that on the screen?
Yeah, it's on the screen. But the point is that I was trying to find here blog and events, news and media, and I one of these tabs on the climate4la.org website was that they have a YouTube channel, and that on their YouTube channel they show the the presentations, the media, the presentations, and that's what
maybe it's
meaningful, right?
Not.
And then I discovered the YouTube channel, which I can put in the chat here.
That's not it.
So that's the YouTube channel in the chat, youtube.com/CMO_EJ4LA.
Okay, well, now I'm losing track of where I can be. I can't be in a million places at once, apparently. So, all right, so, but it's in the chat. So if I stop the share and open the chat, and go back to the meeting. I can now I think there it is. Say voila.
Great. Yeah.
If anybody is looking at this on YouTube, here's another YouTube.
And so you can see those are,
yeah.
That's 1 hour and 25 minutes. The other is 55 hours.
Right.
So 55 minutes. So those that look like whole presentations that you could listen to at,
correct.
Doing the dishes.
So theoretically, the one that from today will ultimately be up there. Okay.
Okay.
I like shade equity. I should go look at that one.
I don't like them. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, stop the share. All right. So, so I don't know, like I said, I don't know if we're able to or not able to have this meeting next month, because if the governing board steals the date, then that's that. So, okay. All right.
Yeah, I hope to be on that call. It turns out what doesn't matter. But we will continue. Every day is a sustainability day. So if we miss you next month, then don't think that you can't do wonderful, amazing things every single day for sustainability. Compost, recycle, use less, grow some tomatoes.
Okay, are you adjourning? Don't hang up, but are you adjourning the meeting?
I'm adjourning, and we